From market contagion to political slugfest, the crisis at Indian conglomerate Adani Group, following a Wall Street report alleging widespread fraud, has put the country's attractiveness as an investment destination under the clouds. Now, it's caused 2 days of uproar in the Indian parliament, the government choosing to stay largely quiet, but the opposition is making loud calls for a thorough investigation.
The Adani Group's billionaire owner, Gautam Adani, still denying allegations in the Hindenburg report, even as the company comes under increased scrutiny from Indian regulators. Opposition party Congress has announced it will hold nationwide protests in front of Life Insurance Corporation offices and State Bank of India branches on Monday. It claims the Narendra Modi government has forced these public institutions to invest in the Adani Group. Adani's debt exposure to public sector banks could pose significant implications for middle-class savings, but Mr. Adani denying the claim. Congress is accusing the Modi government of supporting capitalist allies at the cost of public funds. Opposition leaders also forcing an adjournment of Parliament for a second day as they demand an open debate and investigation on the fraud allegations against Adani.
आप जिन विषयों पर चर्चा करना चाहते हैं उनका नोटिस दें। नारेबाजी करना सदन की मर्यादा के अनुकूल नहीं है। सदन की कार्रवाई 2 बजे तक के लिए स्थगित की जाती है।
The saga has thrown the light on the relationship between India's business class and political elite. Gautam Adani and Narendra Modi both hail from the western state of Gujarat. The Indian Prime Minister has frequently displayed a close friendship with the business tycoon, often using his private jets for election campaigning, another claim that the businessman had earlier dismissed. But the Modi government now seems to be stepping away from the billionaire.
Absolutely no connection.
Even after the recent rout, Adani is still worth more than $60 billion compared to $8 billion in 2014 when Prime Minister Narendra Modi first took power as Prime Minister. Much of this wealth is attributed to the Indian government's privatization drive, which saw Adani winning several government tenders and infrastructure projects in ports, airports, roads, rail, fossil fuels and green energy across the country. Many Indians now fear this alliance could lead to monopolistic business structures while hurting the country's infrastructure growth.
Rebecca Bundan joins us live now from Mumbai for more on this story. Rebecca, walk us through exactly what happened in Parliament today and tell us, when might the government start addressing this issue?
Well, it was a second day of massive disruption in Parliament. For the second day in a row, we saw proceedings having to be adjourned in both houses of Parliament as the opposition benches were calling for an urgent probe into this Adani saga and we heard slogans like "Stop looting the poor" as well. And really, the opposition has been raising these concerns that it could be small investors and the middle classes that could end up being affected. That's what the Congress, the main opposition party, has been saying, because there is this potential exposure. Well, there is exposure on the part of some of the largest financial institutions in the country. If we look at Life Insurance Corporation, which is the largest insurer in the country, and also State Bank of India, which a lot of ordinary Indians have their savings parked with places like this. So that's why the opposition Congress party is now calling for protests to take place on Monday outside the buildings of these organizations, as it continues with its demands that a probe be conducted following what we've seen, more than $100 billion of market value wiped out of Adani's publicly listed firms. There's no sign of this situation there's no signs that this situation seems to be easing at all. And we haven't really heard anything significant from the Indian government on this matter. That's despite the fact that it's understood that Mr. Modi and Mr. Adani do have these close ties, and the Congress party has been accusing Adani of having a relationship with the government that has benefited both sides potentially, although, of course, Adani has denied all these allegations, and including those financial those allegations of financial irregularities from Hindenburg Research. That's all been denied by Adani, but increasingly there is mounting pressure on the government to now also deliver some kind of response to this issue.
Some nervous days for Adani investors. Rebecca, thank you very much for that. Rebecca Bundan there talking to us from Mumbai.